श्री सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। सद्गुरु श्री साईनाथ निशरद बाबूजी की जय। RosePetals, Volume 3, Chapter 11, The Guru Principle. Devotee. Are we always connected to the Sadguru even if we don't know it? Guruji. You are connected even before you actually meet him. For you, the meeting point is when you physically see him. But for him, the meeting point is far, far, far before, a time you've never thought of or even imagined. And all the circumstances in your life have simply led you to this first meeting. In that way, he has already been working on you. This is why sometimes, when someone prostrated for the first time to Baba and was introduced as so and so, Baba would say, "Are, listen to me. I have known him for the last 90 births. You need not introduce him. I know him. I brought him here." Like that, he used to speak. Once, when Shama accompanied Professor Narke to the masjid and introduced him for the first time to Baba, Baba replied, "You introduce him to me? I have known him for 30 generations." Devotee. Does that mean before Sai Baba took his present birth, he was taking care of them? Guruji. In another form. He would have been working in another form. Devotee. So afterwards as well, when he is not in his body, he is working on us? Guruji. The principle working through Sai Baba is the same, and he may be working through different forms also. Baba said, "I am one among the forms. To those whom I am karmically related, to their needs I will cater." For instance, a cell in the body is disturbed, let us say it is itchy, it needs help. Another cell in the body will then cater to its needs. And if something else is needed elsewhere, another part of the body will cater to it. It's not that Sai Baba is the only person catering to all the millions. It's the principle working through Sai Baba that is catering to all these people. Devotee. Am I right in thinking that you said Baba does not reincarnate? Guruji. Yes. Devotee. Then what about his saying he'll reincarnate again and again as long as devotees need him? Guruji. That is not reincarnation but incarnation. There's a lot of difference between reincarnation and incarnation. Devotee. Could you say how they differ? Guruji. If you think that Baba is an incarnation of the Guru principle, then according to the needs of the devotees and the times, the Guru principle will take different forms. Reincarnation means Sai Baba passed away here and his soul will go and take another body and then he'll come back again. In that case, that person, the limited person whom we now call Sai Baba, is taking birth in different forms. That is reincarnation. Incarnation is when the teaching principle assumes a certain form to cater to the needs of devotees. If you think of such an incarnation, if at all you want to call it that, as the Guru principle catering to all devotees' needs, then as times change, it may assume different forms. If we accept this, then we have to accept that all the Sadgurus who came before Sai Baba were also incarnations of the same principle. Devotee. Who would be other examples of the Guru principle? Guruji. Kabir was considered an incarnation of God according to the Kabir Panth. Devotee. Wouldn't Buddha and Christ also be other incarnations of the Guru principle? Guruji. Yes, it's like that. Devotee. You said if we accept that Sai Baba is an example of the Guru principle, then we have to accept there were others before him. But wouldn't there be limits to those who were true incarnations of the Guru principle? Guruji. Yes, but there were many. I only said there would have been many. Devotee. But not all? Guruji. That we do not know. Whether this one or that one was an incarnation or not, we do not know because concepts differ from religion to religion. Anyhow, the saints of the past may not serve present needs. Maybe after 100 or 200 years, some people may think Sai Baba no longer caters to their needs and some other form may appear. Because needs change, the times change, and the way in which our needs are expressed change. So the Guru principle takes another form to fulfill them. For example, an elementary school teacher caters to the needs of children at an elementary school. Compared to the postgraduate level, an elementary school teacher is not a teacher. But what I am saying is, right from the elementary to the postgraduate level, each teacher represents the same teaching principle, catering to different needs. That is what I call the Guru principle. Devotee. Guruji, does everyone have a Sadguru? Guruji. Yes, they do. But the Sadguru has his own ways and means when to make them aware that his particular form is the Sadguru for them. Not that we choose that we are aware of the Sadguru. The Sadguru's influence is already there even when we are not aware of it. Devotee. So no human being in this world is left without some kind of true spiritual guidance should he or she sincerely seek it. I mean, not just a form of God, but a specific spiritual entity who is potentially responsible for that person. Guruji. Actually, they don't exist like entities that have a relative existence. Rather, it is the power of fulfillment embedded in life itself. That principle is manifested when the right time comes in one form or another. But it is the principle. When I speak about the Sadguru, what I am talking about is that principle. Take physics for instance. All of nature is comprised of positive and negative poles, and everything contains something. The neutron, the electron, the positron, and so on. And the electron is always pulled towards the center to become one with the nucleus. That principle of fulfillment, which doesn't make you depend on any other means of fulfillment, is what I call the Sadguru. That force is there in every being because every being craves fulfillment. It is embedded in life so naturally, it is part of life itself almost biologically. As long as it is there, when the time comes, that principle itself will take the form of one Sadguru or another. We usually think it is due to the Sadguru that we become aware of the possibility of spiritual experience. But the fact is, because we are already ready and susceptible to having the experience, that is why we are getting it. Why are all the other people who live around me not aware of it as you are? Because of that principle. When one is ready for it, when the longing becomes sufficient, then it relates itself to a particular form that appears, and then you go to him or her. There, gradually, all your other pulls become submerged in that particular pull. When I say that everybody has a Sadguru, what I am talking about is this principle of everyone's desire, the longing, the innate urge to get that fulfillment, which is not dependent on any other means by which we are accustomed to getting it. Everybody wants that ultimate fulfillment, but they can't get it, so they go on seeking by more and more means, accumulating means, mistaking the means for the fulfillment. But still, the longing is there. Some people may not be aware of it intellectually, but that principle of trying to transcend this dependence, this helplessness, remains. That force and the concrete form of the power or principle that fulfills it, I call the Sadguru. Devotee. What we are really searching for is a fulfillment that does not depend on outer objects, that is, an independent fulfillment. But isn't relying on the Sadguru for fulfillment another dependency? Guruji, yes. First, it starts as a dependency, but that dependency will make you so independent that you come not to depend upon anything. And if you depend upon the Sadguru, the principle of the Sadguru, if you really depend on it, not as you think you are now, but when you really depend upon it, then you will realize that you're not dependent at all. That is the paradox. Devotee, how does that happen, Guruji? Guruji, if you depend. Devotee, dependency implies a dichotomy, a separation of one thing from another. Yet, what you're saying is, once this true dependence comes, there is no longer dependency. Guruji, yes, when you actually experience it, you realize it is not dependence. First, it starts as a kind of dependence, but as it continues, it deepens. Before, the dependency was a negative experience because it felt like a need, which is something we lack. But this dependency becomes such that its very experience gives fulfillment because it is no longer a dependency based on need. There are no other words for it, so I say dependency. I try to avoid calling it surrender, submission, or dependency because these words in our ordinary experience have a negative connotation. But when it comes to this kind of dependency, it is different even though we use the same word for it, because there are no other words that express it better. Devotee, but are we dependent on a principle or a human being? Because you were talking about a principle which then takes a form. Guruji, if it takes a form and it's the form which makes the principle more concrete, then it appears that we are depending on the form also. Yes. Devotee, because to me, I feel like I'm dependent only on the form, not the principle. How can I depend on a principle? It's so abstract, the principle. Guruji, then the concrete will take you to the abstract, because whatever you think, the form stands for the principle, so it will make you realize the principle. Devotee, but Guruji, why should I want to realize the principle if I've got the form? Guruji, no, you need not. Not that you want to realize it, the form wants you to realize it. Devotee, but why, Guruji? Why? Why do we have to go from the concrete to the abstract? Guruji, because he is nothing, nothing but that principle. Devotee, would you please say more about the Guru principle? What are its qualities? Guruji, love. A love that always wants all other people to love and feel love, so there's no experience of dependency, no dichotomy, no difference anywhere. Not only that the form of the Sadguru experiences the whole creation as part of himself, but he wants the other parts of it also to have the same experience of love that he experiences. Devotee. So it is love for this principle we sense inside ourselves and our need for fulfillment that create the Sadguru? Guruji. Yes, what I call love is the principle. Actually, to explain in another way why you are here, I see it is simply because of this love, no other thing. There are no other attractions around me which could make you happy. In fact, there are many things which could make you unhappy. It is not so titillating to your ego. It is always so upsetting, so offending. There are no promises, no assurances, no reassurances. But that experience of, yes, we are happy here, even though sometimes you may not be happy, still you cannot find anywhere else where you are happier. Like this, there has to be one experience where you feel there is no other way for me. This is my way to fulfillment. I cannot see any other way. This is the starting point in spiritual life. It is what the Veda also says, Nanya Panda. There is no other Panda, no other way to liberation. When someone comes to that state, that decision, then his spiritual journey begins. And that awareness, that realization is an expression of love. He is bound to that panda, that path, to that means or whatever you want to call it, by love. Devotee. Guruji, isn't that part of a verse from the Purusha Suktam of the Rig Veda? Guruji. Nanya Panda Vidyate Yanyaya. Yes, it is from the Purusha Suktam. Devotee. Didn't the rishis believe that there was no other way than seeing the Satpurusha revealed in the Vedas? Guruji. Yes, that was their experience. They saw it like that. Whether accident or modern, the mind is the same. The sense of fulfillment is the same. The desire is the same. The suffering is the same. And how we experience it is the same. Devotee. For Baba also, are things endlessly unfolding? Guruji. Yes, definitely endlessly unfolding. He is not a static person. I don't see him like that at all. He is so paradoxical. If you say he is perfect, that there is nothing further for him, I don't agree with that. He is so perfect that he is infinitely growing and growing and growing. There is no end to it. What we see is that element of growth, that principle of growth, of continuous unfoldment that is so much more beautiful. I don't see him as a plucked flower. He is a flower on the tree. Devotee. So he embodies that principle. Guruji. He embodies that principle. Devotee. And nothing is ever complete. Guruji. Nothing is ever complete. But every time it feels like it is complete, it goes on completing itself. The complete trying to complete itself. That is the beauty of the principle. Devotee. Isn't all life trying to do that? To complete itself? Guruji. Yes. Unless we understand this principle and the aesthetics of rasa, the beauty of the complete trying to complete itself, then we can't understand many of the scriptures also. Everything begins and ends here. Brahman is perfect. The whole universe is manifested from Brahman. But why did it manifest? The scriptures say Maya or Avidya. But how did that Maya manifest? They say Brahman manifested the whole world from himself. But why does he have to manifest anything? Doesn't he have anything better to do? If Brahman is really perfect, complete, fulfilled, satisfied, why should he manifest himself in so many forms? Where is the need for him to do that? Or, if you say it was not Brahman, it was something else, Maya, where does this Maya come from if Brahman is everywhere complete? Or, if Brahman is not complete, then he is only finite and not perfect. So these problems will persist unless you understand the principle of rasa, that Brahman not only exists, but exists to create more existence, to create more and more beauty, to enjoy himself more and more, simply because it is his joy to create and fulfill himself. It is his self-delight in his own nature, his rasa. Not that he is incomplete, nor finite, nor imperfect, but rather he is the perfect experiencing and enjoying his own perfection, creating playfully out of delight in his own nature. It is a very, very subtle concept, this principle of rasa, and the Sadguru embodies it. Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki Jai. Sadguru Shri Sainath Nisharat Babuji ki Jai.